Oh, that's not bad. Okay. More or less we're situated. Call that good enough. Boom, we're live. Welcome to Nick White Classics. I've got 8 classic Atari 2600 games, and today we're going to clean these suckers up and hopefully play them. Before we start, just want to say cheers. If this is your first time watching Nick White Classics, thanks for joining us. Of course, to start, we're going to crack open our 91% isopropyl alcohol. And we're going to pull out a Q-tip, and we're just going to clean all these cartridges off. Some of these games are from the early 80s, some from the late 70s. So there's, 40 years of junk and cuck and grime and buildup and crust and crap. So we're just going to hit it with some alcohol and clean it up really good. First thing I like to do is usually clean the outsides first, and that's easy. So we're just going to get a disinfectant wipe going. And I usually squeeze out some of the alcohol just so that it's not like... this one doesn't feel bad, but just in case. Yeah, see, I squeezed a few drops out just so that it doesn't bubble up or anything. Start by cleaning off the exteriors of the carts, right? So let's start there. Okay, let's start with this one here. You can see we have Freeway, designed and conceived by David Crane for the Atari video computer system. So you can tell this is an older game. The year on here is 1981. It's referred to as the video computer system. So that once the next generation of the Atari came out, the Atari 2600 and 5200, I think. Yeah, once the second generation came out, regardless, that's when they sort of dubbed it the Atari 2600. Before then, it was the video computer system. You can see somebody wrote their name on this one. So this is 1981. Steve owned this cartridge, and now we're cleaning it off. And this game, Freeway, is sort of like Frogger. You can sort of see on the label art here. You got a bunch of cars, and you just sort of jump across the road and get to the top. And it's a 2-player game, so you just see who can race the most cars across the street. I'm sorry, the most characters across the street without bumping the cars. So then we're going to clean out the inside, and you can see on the inside it's quite dusty. So I'm just going to hit it with I'm going to hit it with just a dry Q-tip, and then I'm going to dip my Q-tip into some isopropyl alcohol, and then just wipe off that chipboard really good. See if we can get these chips cleaned, or at least these teeth. And you can see, yeah, we're getting all kinds of crud and crap off there. Nicole Dricky, message retracted. All right. Okay. That's the first time I've ever seen that, so I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure if it's a language thing or what. But either way, if you're just joining me, welcome to Nick White Classics. We're just cleaning out some carts today. I got these 8 Atari 2600 cartridges, and I just want to make sure that they're all, cleaned up as good as I can get them anyways. I'm not going to be too crazy about it, but you can see the back of this one has some gunk. Let's see, can I review that message? Let's see. You a kid doing effing shoot? No, I'm not a kid. I just love Atari 2600. What's happening, Brett? Thanks for tuning in, man. We're just cleaning up some carts. I've got 8 older games today. This is Dodge 'em from 1980. And this is another 2-player game. And it's kind of like a early 8-bit version of Dodgeball in some kind of way. But it's a 2-player game, right? So it plays with the joystick controllers. There's still some crud on the back, so before I pop that down, let me just grind this out a little bit. Jacob, Ted, Jacob, Panty, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We're just cleaning some carts, and right now we're on Dodge 'em. And this has one of those protective pieces, which is kind of cool. It's supposed to keep the dust out, but you can easily see just depress that, and it slides down. Then you just hold it until you can get your Q-tip in there to clean it out. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely it's definitely super satisfying to clean these suckers out, man. Especially, this one's not bad. I think all the carts that have those dust protecting like covers on them, those usually don't get too bad. But the ones that I've seen that don't have that, sometimes there's just like cobwebs and like large chunks, or sometimes there's some nasty buildup on the chips here. But this one's not too bad. So then I just wipe it with the alcohol and then wipe it with the dry side just to make sure it doesn't, build up when it dries. And that's it. Boom. Dodge 'em's done. And next we'll go to this one because it's a cool shape. So I'm just like sort of gravitated towards it. This is produced by Mattel. So Mattel made games for the Atari 2600, and I think that they made some awesome looking carts because they're all shaped sort of like this. Mattel made these carts that are like just cool to look at. They're all kind of shaped the same way, and I know in my collection I like to keep all these carts by Mattel sort of grouped together just because it looks cool. But yeah, Armor Ambush is a game from 1980 or 81, and it's a 2-player game. That's really quite strange. It's it almost looks like Pac-Man in the sense but it's a 2-player game. There's no ghosts. You have to go through a maze in a sort of way and collect the little lines, but you're also competing against each other. It's a 2-player game, so it's kind of fun. But yeah, if you got 2 players, this is a sweet one. Can't wait to play this one. Armor Ambush. Yeah, and see, there is no additional information on there. Hello, welcome to the channel. Yeah, well, one reason that they did away with the cartridges, and to be fair, the Nintendo Switch does have cartridges, right? But I know that the Switch 2 is mainly all digital now. I'm not sure if they're still doing cartridges with the Nintendo Switch 2 or not. But the thing is, with these small chips, you can only fit so much on there. I mean, I forget exactly what it is. If anybody is an Atari buff and knows, but I think it's something crazy small, like 128 bytes. Something crazy small. I know that, but yeah, you can only fit so much game data on these tiny chips that are in here. And you can kind of see it right there. You can see the teeth that are poking out. Yes, they're very small. Like a lot of times in a lot of these games, it's like the same level that just repeats. Or, the good games, you might have 2 or 3 different levels, and they just repeat like again and again and again. But I think what's interesting is some of the AIs in some of these games. Oh yeah, the games were definitely harder, and I think that the AIs for the late 70s, early 80s were really quite smart. Like, even if you think Pac-Man, right? The ghosts will chase you around, and if you turn right, yeah, look, we got some nasty junk out of this one. But yeah, if you turn, the ghost turns, right? It follows you. And just to think that, like, in the 70s, we had AI that could do that, automation, very cool stuff on a tiny chip like this with a tiny little ROM chip in there. Yeah, the SNES is awesome. I love the Super Nintendo. I've got a Sega Genesis, and I've got an Atari 2600, and that's all I have right now. But I hope to get a SNES someday. I mean, I used to have one, of course, for sure. They had all the sweet games. Yeah, there's a little bit of junk on the back of this, so I think I'm gonna grab a new wipe. And this is just a standard disinfectant wipe, and I'm just gonna try to wipe the back to get some of that sticker junk off. A game cast? I'm not familiar with that. I had a Sega Dreamcast I had, for sure. I never had a, I'm not sure what the game cast is, but the Sega Dreamcast was one of my favorites. That is a sweet system. But I do have a, you know what, I have a Nintendo GameCube, but I've not played it in forever. I only have a couple games for it, but I do have a wrestling game for it, so I'm looking forward to dusting that sucker off at some point soon. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, this one's nasty. So this is Home Run, right? So this is a classic baseball game for the Atari 2600. It came out in 1978. So this is one of the first sports games, at least for home consoles, you know. They had arcade versions and stuff like that. But yeah, this is like one of the first games, at least, you know, definitely on Atari, that you could, play Major League Baseball at home on your home entertainment center. Yes, Malibu's Most Wanted. I've not seen that in forever, but is that who is it? Kennedy who plays the main character? What's the actor's name? Nice. Yes. Awesome. Ooh. Yeah, that's not super great. Usually these are supposed to snap closed. There we go. Then it's still a little wet from the alcohol, so I'm just going to dust it. And I'm not going to play it today, so I think it's fine. See, I'm going to need something like some Gooby Gone or some better cleaner to get that gunk off the back. But for now, this is good enough. Okay, now we move on to, is it Amidar? I'm not sure how to pronounce the title of this game, but it looks freaking awesome. And if memory serves, this is a fun-ass game. Okay, just looking at the image, we got a monkey in the background. And I think you play as a monkey. It's like you sort of go around and you try to close these these giant squares, right? So you have roads that you can walk on, and as you walk on them, you draw a line, right? And as you draw squares, then you close off the board. And once you close off the entire map, then you beat the level. But it's not that easy because there are enemies running around. I think that's what we're seeing here, which is we had a pig and a cannibal, I guess. I don't know. Games in the 80s where I think with inflation, they were pretty close to what they are now. I think that the Atari 2600, when it first came out, was about $125, which would be closer to like $350 or $400 today. Ooh. So we have a problem with the label here. So I'm going to grab the glue stick, put this back together. So you just use some standard paste. If your labels come off, just paste it back on. I think games back in the day, you know, man, some were dirt cheap. I know they were so cheap to produce anyways that I know sometimes, like, let me give you an example. Kool-Aid Man, all you had to do was collect about 125 Kool-Aid points, which are just on the little packs of Kool-Aid. And I think there's like 15 per pack, right? 15 points per pack, and you just need to collect 125 points, send that in with a shipping and handling fee, and they will send you the game for free. So yeah, I think that a new game would be close to 15 or 20. But again, not entirely sure. That is a good question, though. I should look that up. So there you have it. We got the label on. I know it's still wet, so I don't want to mess with it too much. But once that dries, that'll be good as new. Maybe not good as new, but good enough. Will no longer be peeling off. Then I'm going to go in here, pull out the dust with a dry swab. Okay. Everything was cheaper in the 80s, though, right? Everything seemed to last longer. Like, look at this. At some point, somebody paid $100 or more, right, in the 80s for an Atari 2600. That still works in 2025, that I'm still using in 2025. So, you know, I have a PlayStation 1 that doesn't work anymore. You know what I'm saying? Those old consoles and these old games, they work forever. Oh man, this one is super dirty. So again, you can see the chip in there poking out the bottom, and I'm just getting at the teeth there. Those little pins that are going to connect to the system, complete the circuit. That is what I need to clean off. Just getting off the junk, the build up, the grime, and I'm just going to hit the back lightly at it. The teeth are just on one side, you can see. Just right there. So, good enough. And then I'm just going to wipe it off real quick with the dry side. Good. All right. 3 to go. This is where we take a pause for the cause. 3 more carts to clean. And with that, we're going to take a little break, do a PSA, do a quick cheers. If anybody's tuning in for the first time, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to Nick White Classics. We're just cleaning up a couple old Atari 2600 carts. So this has my rubbing alcohol. So that's the wrong glass. It's going super well. I hope your Fridays are going well. It's just, it's great for me. I'm just cleaning some carts. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers. All right. We're going to pull out the 91% isopropyl alcohol. Just going to put a little bit inside the cap. And we're going to get these suckers cleaned up. My all-time favorite gaming system was the NES, right? The original OG Nintendo Entertainment Center. But yeah, let's move on to the next game. This is Outlaw. This came out in 1978. And of course, Westerns were huge in the late 70s, right? So this game would have been like, you know, in high demand. And because of the year 78, I know the original 9 Atari games came out in 77. So this has got to be like early on. This has got to be one of the first, maybe the second run of games that were ever produced for the Atari 2600. But I do remember playing this game as a kid, and this is pretty awesome. There's like randomly generated worlds that include, you might get a stagecoach or a cactus and use that to hide behind, and then you just blast each other with pistols. And it's like whoever gets the most hits, whoever hits their opponent with their pistol, you know, whoever gets the most hits wins. I'm not sure if there's a timer or you have to play to 10 hits or whatever it is, but it's fun, man. It's, again, one of those 2-player games. I'm not sure if it goes on 1 player. Actually, see, this is a dead giveaway, right? So use the joystick controllers with an S. It doesn't say 1 or 2 players, but it's definitely... Hey, Richard Stone, thanks for tuning in. I don't know if you've ever played Outlaw for the Atari 2600, but I was just saying this used to be a sweet game to play with a friend. Kind of hide behind a cactus and shoot pistols at each other. These little 8-bit solid color cowboys, and it's a lot of fun. All right. Ooh, yeah, that is a good thing. Let's try this. I'm throwing a Q&A up there, right? What's your all-time favorite video game character? I'm curious what you guys got to say there. All-time favorite video game character. Mario, hell yeah. I'm with you there. It's hard to disagree with Mario. Classic character. I might say Sonic, though. Like, although I love Mario, but like, which Mario, right? The Mario, like the OG Mario from Super Mario Brothers 1 or from Donkey Kong? Isn't that Mario that runs up, jumps over the barrels, saves the princess from Donkey Kong? There it is, Outlaw. But Mario's a great answer, though. Let's see, can I type in an answer here, or... oh, maybe nobody. Richard, do me a favor. I'm just testing out this feature. Could you answer within like the overlay that says your all-time favorite video game character? Just click answer and type it in. I wonder what it will do. Anybody else out there too, if you care to get involved, I'd love to hear what your favorite video game character of all time is. And if we could use this overlay, I'd like to see how that works. All right, so next we have Seek and Speak. And this is produced in 1982, and this is another two-player game. So this is 4 game variations, C instructions, used with 1 or 2 joystick controllers. So this is a 2-player game, but you could just you can share 1 controller. And I don't know if anybody out there has ever played Seek and Peek, but it's basically hide and seek. And you can see based on the illustration here. So you use the honor system, right? And the person who's your character will count against a wall, and you have to make that person close their eyes and not peek at the screen, while the other person actually navigates around the house and hides behind the couch or goes into the next room, hides under the bed, whatever. And then if they didn't peek after they count, then they, it's their turn. And they seek, and so they search around the rooms, look behind the couch, look under the bed, and search in all the spots, searching for you. You know, it's just like a standard hide and seek game, but it came out in 1982 for the Atari 2600, and it's a fun game to play. But I don't believe there is a 1-player mode, so definitely got to play with friends. Sonic, yeah, good answer, right? I'm with you. I think it's going to be hard to argue that like Sonic and Mario are definitely the most iconic video game characters of all time. Maybe Donkey Kong is up there too, right? But as far as favorites, like I don't know, man. I think maybe Link definitely deserves the top spot for all-time favorite video game characters. I think like Solid Snake is a great video game character. Let's see. If we're talking all-time video game characters, there's a ton of options, right? Oh, okay. No, yeah, I didn't see it, but thanks for trying it, man. I might just close this out. Drag down here to end. Okay, there we go. So yeah, you can see how dirty this one was. Super nasty. It's a lot better now, but I still got to clean those pins off. So let me get in there. I like to clean these out really good before I play them. You can see all that crap on there. It's good practice. You know, just make sure they're clean so that it doesn't like clog up your machine or get any dust inside your system. And you definitely need contact, right? So if there's any dust or debris on there at all, the game's not going to load properly. Okay, we got one more to clean, and this is a classic Atari 2600 games. I think that some people would call Yars Revenge one of the best games of all time for Atari 2600. So, okay, Brett, cool. Thanks for tuning in, man. Okay, so Yars Revenge came out in 1981, and it is, ooh, it looks super nasty. Bummer. But that's okay. We're going to clean it up, and I'm hopeful it'll still work. These things always do. Once you just hit them with some alcohol, they usually work pretty good. But yeah, Yars Revenge is highly regarded as one of the best games ever made for the Atari 2600. It's like a space shooter, and you can see it's like a fly, right? I don't know. It's like a silver... just commenting on the artwork, right? It's like a silver fly, space fly with a machine gun that's shooting lasers out of his face. So pretty cool artwork and a fun game to play, man. It's tough to describe the gameplay. Yeah, but essentially you're battling against, yeah, you're a space ship, I think, or a space angel, or yeah, I need to read the instructions on this one. But I'm just talking gameplay. You control a character that blasts lasers at an enemy who's surrounded by like a blockade. And so you have to tick away at the blockade by blasting it out. And then once you have a clear shot, man, that's nasty. Once you have a clear shot, you need to time out like a super missile launch in order to take out that villain. And then once you do that, you're able to go to the next level. And I think that one of the cool things about Yars Revenge is there's a handful of different levels. Yeah, that's nasty. With a lot of these Atari 2600 games, the levels just seem to repeat, but with this one, there's a few different variations on levels, so not every single stage, you know, looks the same. They're very similar, but yeah, okay. That's that. All right, so we got 8 games cleaned. Yars Revenge, Sneak and Peek, Outlaw, Amidar, if I'm saying that correctly. I'm sure I'm not. We got Home Run Baseball, Armor Ambush, Dodge 'em, and Freeway. So there you have it. We got 8 new Atari 2600 games cleaned out. I'm going to leave them here and let them dry off so that we can test them out in the Atari 2600. And if they work, I'm going to go live and play them. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're into retro gaming, definitely subscribe to the channel and check back often. All right, I'm going to take off. Have a good night, guys. Later.